What's up, guys? It's Carly with FasciNATIVE English, where if you are finally ready to take your English to another level and to begin speaking English like a native English speaker, then you've come to the right place. So let's get into it. Alright guys, today's slang word is kind of an interesting slang word because there are three separate definitions for this one slang word. So there's three different ways you can use this word, and all three ways are slang. So we're going to go over all three ways today and see what all we can learn together. So the word today is busted. Again, that is busted. And the first definition of busted means broke, having no money. All right? Broke, which means you have no money. Busted. So an example of this is a few months ago, we were traveling in Florida and unfortunately we got a flat tire and we had to buy a new tire, but even the tire that we bought was just at a used tire spot nearby and it wasn't the best tire. It was just one that we could put on and try to get back to Georgia and then buy new tires once we got here. So we spent money on that tire, went back to Georgia, and then we just realized we have to buy all new tires for our car. It's that time. So we went and we had to spend money. Money. Must be funny in a rich man's world. Buying 4 new tires for our car. At the same time, something else was going on in our life. I think it was my son, his soccer team. I had to pay money for his soccer, so there was that. And then there was something else too, and it just seemed like, when it rains, it pours, the other expression I taught. It just seemed like it was one of those months where like everything that could possibly go wrong financially was going wrong. Expenses here, expenses there, expenses everywhere, right? So one of my friends was going to Disney World and they invited us to go with them. They said, hey, it would be really cool if your family could meet us down there. The kids could play, ride rides together. We could all go to Disney World. And I was like, that would be really cool, but I'm straight up busted this month. Like right now I'm busted. And they were like, what do you mean? And I was like, we just had a lot of expenses going on. Like we had to get new tires, and then we had my oldest son Noah, we had Noah's soccer, and I know there was other things too, because when you look at it, it's like, okay, tires, soccer, not too much. There was other things too, and we just were like, we can't afford to go to Disney World right now. We're gonna have to save that for later. So I just was like, sorry, thank you for the invitation. I would really love to go. I want to go. We actually hopefully will go later this year, but at that month, like what was it, like April or May, I was like, it's just not gonna happen. I know what the other thing is. We had just came back. We were in Florida and my husband and I just went to Universal Studios. So Universal Studios was pretty expensive, it's like $500 for 2 people. So I was like, we just came back from Universal Studios, which was expensive. And then now we have our new tires, which is expensive. And then my son's soccer, which is expensive. And here, there, everywhere our money is going, except for into our bank accounts. So I was like, we're pretty busted this month. So maybe later, maybe another time. Even though I love Disney and I want to go to Disney World again. But I was like, no, maybe another time. So that's the first definition of busted, which is slang, means broke and having no money. The second definition for the word busted is unattractive, lame, or boring. Unattractive, lame, or boring. All right. So this one, I'm not going to lie to you. I can't lie. I don't really use it personally, but I hear it being used a lot, especially on social media these days. I hear busted a lot when it comes to how somebody looks in regards to their appearance or whatever. I hear the word busted a lot. So I don't really like to use it because I don't really like to be that kind of person to be like, oh, that person looks busted. That person looks ugly. I'm not that kind of person. So I don't personally use this slang, but I hear it being used a lot. TV, social media, out and about, at the gym. I hear it at the gym. People be like, oh, that guy, she looks good, but her face is busted. I overhear like guys talking at the gym. Oh my girls, I can't believe I am. But anyways, so yes, busted can also mean unattractive, lame, or boring. So an example of this is a few weeks ago, I was scrolling through TikTok and there was like this social experiment going on. How you sometimes see these videos where people kind of stage something. It's like they want to see what other people will do, like out in society. Would you do the right thing or would you do the wrong thing? So it was one of those kind of social experiments. And there was like a person who looked homeless. They had her dressed up like, homeless looking, and, she was very pretty underneath it all. But because they like did her makeup a certain way and like blacked out some of her teeth and stuff like that, she looked busted. She looked not that great, and she was, asking for money, and like, they were trying to see like if a well-dressed person versus a underdressed person, like a person who's dressed nicely, people are more willing to communicate with them and, give them the time of day, and be like, oh, you need a couple bucks? Yeah, sure, I got you. But people who look homeless, they don't really want to, people try to avoid them. So that was a social experiment that was going on. They were testing, they dressed her up fancy, and she was like, hey, I'm sorry, can I just have a couple bucks? Like I need it for gas or something. And people gave her money. But when she was homeless and asking for a couple bucks, people didn't give her money. And when she was dressed nicely, asking for money, she just needed it for gas. But when she was homeless, she needed it for food, something more important. So like people, it was just like a social experiment about what would you do, So in the comments, people were like, wow, she looks busted. I can't believe she was that gorgeous. Like underneath it all, she's so pretty. When they made her look homeless, she looked so busted. Using the word busted, the slang word busted. People all throughout the comments were using it. So I'm not gonna lie, even I was like, oh wow, busted. Yeah, she does look kind of busted, and it's a word that I hear often. I know what it means, but I don't really use it myself per se. But this last definition I have for you all, this is one that I use a lot. All right. So busted, let's review really quick. I know this one's kind of a confusing video because there's so many definitions for this one slang word, but let's review. So busted means you're broke and you have no money. Busted also means you're unattractive, you're lame, you're boring, maybe you look a little ugly, you're busted. All right. But busted can also mean to be caught doing something bad and therefore you're in trouble.
Whose idea was this?
All right. So to be caught doing something bad and therefore in trouble. You're in trouble. All right. So this is the one I use a lot because I'm a mom and I catch my kids doing stuff that they should not be doing all the time. So I like to be a fun mom.
So not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
My husband too, he likes to be a fun dad. And when we catch our kids doing something that they should not be doing, a lot of times we go, busted, 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 or something like that. Like, ooh, you're busted, bro. We like to be like kind of funny, like, ooh, I caught you, busted. So an example of this is my youngest son, he's 3, right? And the other day, he has, my husband has this like kind of purple shampoo. And we don't really use it anymore because my husband dyed his hair a really light color last year. So the hairstylist was like, oh yeah, buy this purple shampoo and use it. It'll make your dye last longer. So my husband has this shampoo, but we don't really use it that much anymore. But it's just sitting in the shower. So my son, he was being a little bit too quiet. I'm like, that's suspicious. That's weird.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
What's going on? So I go into the bathroom where my son is supposed to be taking a bath. And don't worry, guys that are watching this, like I make my son take a bath in like this much water and I check on him like every 5 seconds. But during the 5 seconds that I was out, he had managed to basically finger paint the whole shower with this purple shampoo. Like it's everywhere and it's like kind of staining. I'm not gonna lie, I'm still trying to clean it out. It's been 2 days. And so he's like finger painting the shower with this purple shampoo and I will go in there and I'm like, what are you doing? And then he looks like he startles and he's like, oh, and I'm like, ooh, you're busted now. You're busted. You got caught. Now you're gonna get in trouble. So of course, like I took it away from him. I saw that he had it like on his face. So here I am panicking, being the mom that I am, Googling the number for like poison control or something, making sure it's okay, it's safe to ingest because here my son is like, it's purple. Looks like berries. Let me eat it. So I'm like, oh, you got busted. And then when he turns around, I see it on his face and then panic ensues. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you were eating it. And I'm like cleaning it up. And then I'm like Googling, searching, making sure it's safe. And it was safe. It was fine. It's harmless. But still, you know, you have to double check. And as a mom, I'm one of those paranoid moms where I'm like, okay, the one time I don't double check will be the time where it was like, you know, severe. So anyways, it was just a funny story because my son, his face, like it was like the most guiltiest looking face. Like he turned around, he was covered in purple all over his face, all over his hands, his legs. And he goes, and he looks at me and I'm like, you're busted, aren't you? Caught you, you're in trouble, right? So again, busted, the slang word for today, 3 different definitions: to be broke, to be ugly, and to be caught when you're in trouble. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you all in the next video.